I'm not a fan of this new Ghostbusters reboot. The original 1984 Ghostbusters was a major part of my childhood. I not only watched the movie, but I also watched the cartoon every weekday afternoon on Channel 5 and Saturday morning on ABC. And I even owned the video game for the Sega Master System, and I still have that cartridge in my collection today. And even though I was 15, I have all the real Ghostbusters toys, and I still have them to this day. 1984's Ghostbusters was a major influence on my writing. Much of the dark humor you see featured in my novel The Temptation of John Haynes is partially inspired by 1984's Ghostbusters. When I watched that film and I saw the nuanced comedy that Ivan Reitman and Harold Ramis put together in their screenplay, I saw a lot of new things I could put in my own African American fantasy. However, when I look at this 2016 reboot, it really disgusts me. It looks like a poorly done Saturday Night Live sketch filled with a lot of feminist claptrap and girl power cliches. It is a shallow film that doesn't capture the spirit of the original film, nor does it understand the nuances of the story or the commentary made in between the lines of the comedy of the original. The four female Ghostbusters are poor caricatures of the original quad. There's a nerdy one, a fat one, a stupid one, and a black one. And the most offensive one is the black female, because this hulking black female is a character is a as I see it, she's a really offensive stereotype. She's basically a insult to black women because instead of finding someone who would better reflect the Winston Zedmore character and still be feminine, they go out and find this hulking, masculine-looking female to play the role. And it's just really sad to see that they go out and go get this hulking, masculine, gigantic female to play this role. And what's even worse is that this female is playing this loud, neck-rolling, eye-snapping, Lord Jesus, mammy stereotype. And that is meant to really, again, slap black women in the face because we look at it, this is nothing but a coon stereotype. If this isn't cooning, I don't know what it is. Because if you look at the original 1984 Ghostbusters and you look at Ernie Hudson's portrayal of Winston Zedmore, it's a very subdued, very subtle performance, and it also fits within the nuanced tone of the film. This, on the other hand, is meant to try to be over-the-top comedy, but it's not comedy at all. It's basically a coon image. Again, if this is not cooning, I don't know what is. And it also fits the pattern that I've seen regarding the presentation of African American women in fantasy films. Now, I've talked about this in the previous video about your Captain America Civil War and the portrayal of African American women in that film, like the woman who confronts Tony Stark and with her neck rolling and eye snapping attitude, and the Black Panther's almost masculine looking female guard. This is a part of a trend when it regards African American women in fantasy films, and African Americans really need to start calling this out because when it comes down to roles in in fantasy films, this has to be stopped because we rarely get these type of roles, and to have these type of roles presented, really shortchanges us. But this is par for the course with Hollywood because when it comes down to Hollywood, they do not want to present positive and balanced images of African Americans in film. They do not like seeing, positive images and balanced images of African American women in film, especially when you put them up next to the white women in the film. When it comes down to the images of white women, they want to make sure that the white women appear soft, feminine, and attractive. And in order to make the white women look more appealing, they go out and find unattractive black women so that they will stand out. And in this case of this film, where you have this nerdy woman, this stupid woman, and this fat woman, they went out to find the ugliest, most masculine-looking black female so that the white women would appear more attractive in comparison. And this is, again, done because it's something Hollywood wants to do to sell their business. They don't want to present attractive images of black women because they know if black women are following their own standard of beauty, they won't be buying products made by white and non-black companies like your Korean hair weaves, your bleaching creams, and your hair care products made by white companies. They know that if you're looking at this black woman and seeing her as unattractive, and she's chasing a white female standard of beauty, then they can sell white products to that black woman in her quest to be just like these white women. And when I look at this Ghostbusters, again, it's just one of the most offensive films I have seen regarding African American women. The images portrayed in this film of this black woman are just utterly and completely offensive. It's just so over the top. It's ridiculous. And it's, again, one of these images that sets African American women back almost as bad as, I say, Halle Berry in Monsters Ball, and Gaborni Sidibe and Monique and Precious, and even your Kerry Washington in Scandal. I keep wondering, when are we going to get a nice, balanced, humanized image of an African American woman in media? When it comes down to these images of African American women these days, they pretty much borderline on caricature, and some of them are even almost the same as the minstrel images of the 1930s. Unfortunately, no one in the black community is speaking out against these images. No one is trying to protest these images. No one is calling this out. I mean, I have heard nothing from your pro-blacks about this Ghostbusters movie featuring this masculine, hulking black female who was practically a coon caricature. Nor have I heard anything from your Nation of Islam or your Al Sharpton or any of the other assorted can of mixed nuts of African Americans out here regarding the degradation of the African American female image in this film or films like your Captain America Civil War. Not a single word has been said, regarding this, and how this possibly looks like a trend regarding the presentation of African American women and the African American female image. The way I see it, African Americans really need to start speaking out about this, like I'm doing right now in this video and the corresponding blog that you can click the link to in the description box, because this type of image, again, sets the race back and pretty much sets a standard if it's not checked. Because just like in 2001 with Halle Berry and Monsters Ball, this type of trend can pretty much, go on to snowball and lead to further degrading images of African American women in media. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.